Do you know that cancer is now the second most killer diseases around the world? Yes, actually. So cancer has actually killed a lot of people around the world. In fact, statistics according to World Health Organization has said that cancer killed up to 9.6 million people as of 2018. Yes, so 1 in 6 deaths in 2018 was as a result of cancer. Now, it could be lung cancer, prostate cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, okay, but whichever cancer, that's all that it was. But just know that cancer killed a lot of people. Cancer is now the second most deadly around the world. And the sad thing about this cancer is that people are unable to quickly diagnose and know what type of cancer that they are suffering from. A lot of people just put it on a general term that if it's cancer, then it just has to be the same thing. It has to be the same thing. No, that's where the problem is. That's where most of the problem is. Because if you're suffering from lung cancer, okay, and you are managing just on a general term someone suffering from stomach cancer or colon cancer, then you are actually doing yourself more harm than good. Okay, so in this series, okay, I'll be talking about cancer, the different types of cancer, the most common types of cancer. I'll also be talking about the management of cancer on a general note. I'll be talking about the general signs and symptoms of cancer. I'll be talking about some causes of cancer, and I'll also be mentioning the most common types of cancer. Okay, I'll be sharing my knowledge extensively on this series. Okay, every knowledge I'll be sharing has been well researched. Okay, but that does not mean that you shouldn't visit the hospital. In fact, that's the first thing you should do. Visit the hospital. I am only sharing my knowledge, okay, my read up knowledge on cancer. All right, so let's proceed. And first of all, let's know what cancer is, okay? So cancer is a large group of diseases that can start in almost any organ or tissue of the body when abnormal cells grow uncontrollably. Okay, and by the time they grow uncontrollably, they begin to move from one tissue to another tissue, and they keep spreading around the body until the entire body system is dead. Okay, and at this stage now, we say that the cancer is beginning to metastasize. Like that's actually the medical term for it, to begin to metastasize. That's when the cancer begins to move through the body. Okay, so it moves, it affects this tissue, it damages this tissue, it moves to another organ, it damages this organ, moves to another organ, damages this organ. Okay, so that's how cancer can actually metastasize, and this can actually happen within a short period of time. That's how fast cancer actually moves. Okay, so this is something that we should really pay close attention to, just so that we would know how much we should protect ourselves really from cancer. And then we actually have, now some people might say, okay, I'm actually having a tumor. Okay, so when it's a tumor, it's actually when it's still in a particular place, okay, forming that lumpy something around a particular place. But when it begins to move around, you can no longer call it just a tumor, because at this stage now it has become a major concern. Okay, and also another name for this cancer can actually be neoplasm or malignant tumor. Okay, so that's like the name. Now when it's neoplasm, usually when it's still small and when it's still at a particular location, so it's just in one tissue.
Hello. Thank you. I have an injection.
Okay. Okay, sorry for that break. Actually making this video, and yeah, I'm actually making this at work, so be hearing a few interruptions here and there, but don't get distracted. Okay, all right, let's continue. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is what cancer really looks like. Okay, so cancer, it's actually like different cells. Okay, and then I have put up an image, okay, to show what cancer looks like. Okay, so we see the cell that is beginning to split in two, and this cell that is beginning to split in two is actually showing how the cells would split and migrate to other organs of the body. Okay, and this process of migrating, if you remember well, I actually said it's called metastasizing. Yes, that's how it migrates. Okay, so I have other images as well that I'll be putting up on the screen. Okay, so this second one is showing where the cells, okay, we have the normal cells up the top bar, and we have the cancerous cells down. Okay, so now if you look closely, you'll see the changes in both the shape of the from the normal cell to the cancerous cell, and then would also see how it multiplies rapidly, more than the normal. So the cells are multiplied more than the other normal cells. Okay, and then the way they also cluster around without any boundary, everything just looks disorganized, and without boundary. Okay, so now this shapes and numbers can actually be seen only by the aid of instruments, equipment, microscopes, not really with the naked eyes. Okay, so don't really get so disturbed and worried about the shapes and all. That's actually where proper diagnosis actually come in. And then there is another image up there as well, showing the normal cell division, the cancer cell division. This one, I just put up this image just so that you can have an idea of how the cancer itself actually, multiplies. Because that's actually the thing about cancer. Remember at the start of this video, I mentioned that they grow uncontrollably. And then I also mentioned that they move from one tissue and or organ to another organ. Okay, so this is just me showing an image to illustrate how this happens. Okay, so you don't need to concern yourself too much with all of this, but be more concerned about the knowledge that you can get to help save yourself, keep yourself cancer free. All right, so let's proceed. We've spent too much time already, so let's proceed to the causes of cancer. All right, so I have put up just a small summary of causes of cancer. Now this is just like on a general note. Like I said, cancer actually comes in different types. Okay, but this is on a general note, some of the causes of this various types of cancers. Now we have smoking. Okay, whether you're the one smoking, okay, the actual cigarette, or any other type of smoke, and or you are the one inhaling the smoke. If you're sitting or staying close to someone that is smoking, or you're in an environment where you inhale carbon monoxide or gas from exhaust, you're actually exposing yourself and lungs to lung cancer. Okay, so it's better if you're able to stay away. And for those that actually smoke, okay, now you find out that when you actually smoking, even when you try to buy the cigarette, they're already giving you like a warning that you should smoke responsibly, that those that smoke can actually expose their lungs to cancer. So already that one is a warning already for you to take precautionary measures, and if possible, limit your smoking or stop smoking. Sorry to those that sell cigarettes, I'm not trying to spoil your business. Okay, but I'm just trying to share knowledge that can actually be healthy and save lives. All right, so the next is diet, the kind of food we consume. Okay, for those that consume food that are high in genetically modified substances, those canned foods and foods that are in packs, food that have plenty of preservatives, those chemicals actually can expose us to cancer. Yes, especially when you're trying to preserve beans, rice. Those are the common things we have around. So you're trying to preserve those things, and you put plenty of chemicals as preservatives. Those chemicals, no matter how much you cook them or wash them, will still have you still have some traces of those chemicals in those food. And when we consume those food, we're actually exposing ourselves. We're at high risk of being infected by these diseases of cancer. Okay, so as much as possible, let's try to eat pure and organic food, free of preservatives. Okay, and then the next is obesity. excessive alcohol consumption, infectious diseases, exposure to sun and tanning bed, exposure to ultraviolet rays. Okay, so for each of these, just in case you have any question or concern or contribution or whatever you need clarity on some of these things that I'm mentioning here, just leave them in the comment section and I would be responding to them one after the other. Okay, all right. So the next thing again that I would want to talk about is okay. So the general signs and symptoms that we have are change in bowel or bladder habits. Okay, now what this means is you feel pressed at some point, and then when you get to the restroom, the convenience to ease yourself, you find out mostly for the men that the urine comes out in trickles. Okay, so it's more like it comes out in trickles, and then you're wondering why. It's mostly associated with the men, okay, with prostate cancer, okay, because there's an obstruction there from where the urine should come out, and so now that leads to the urine coming out. So with so much pressure, that's only when you're able to relieve your bladder of the urine that you're having. And even after that, even after using the convenience, you still feel so pressed because your bladder hasn't completely been emptied. Okay, it also affects the women as well when you're easing yourself and then you're feeling so much pain, like painful sensation around. Okay, that's also an indication that you should visit the hospital. I'm not saying it's an indication of cancer. Okay, like I said, this is just me sharing my research knowledge. Okay, you get proper diagnosis from the hospital. And then you have a sore that does not heal. Okay, that's because your immune system has dropped so low. And then you have an unusual bleeding or discharge. You have thickening or lump in certain areas of the body. Okay, lump like when you have some swellings around the body, looking like there is something thick, on that part of the skin, mostly with breast cancer. Okay, you start feeling some breast and good. So I'll be talking about self-breast examination, okay, but not in this series. I'll be talking about it in another series. So it's important for you to follow, okay, to subscribe to my channel and follow. I forgot to mention this at the start of the video, so please try to subscribe and click the notification button so that you will be notified of when I drop new videos. Okay, and then next we have obvious change in warts or mole, and then we have nagging cough or hoarseness. So these, like I said, are just the general signs and symptoms of cancer. Okay, it is not to say that it is. So it is not to say that these are the only signs and symptoms associated with cancer. Like I said, I'm just giving short summary on general cancer in general. Okay, for each of the cancers, they have their own signs and symptoms. So this should only be as a short summary knowledge sharing of what cancer really looks like. Okay, it shouldn't really be conclusion on what you should base off of your diagnosis on. Okay, still do well to visit the hospital and still follow so that we can talk more extensively on the other types of cancers. Okay, and then we'll talk about how lifestyles can actually affect cancer, make it better, or even worsen the cancer. All right, bye and see you in my next video.